Mabuhay, Kamustika, welcome. How are you? This is Bob from Love Beyond the Sea. I want to reflect on a recent blog post in lovebeyondthesea.wordpress.com by Mr. E called The Zero Sum Game, Unnatural Selection and Filipina Wisdom. He has strong opinions on the state of the West today, and they certainly contribute to why men are looking for love overseas. Subscribe to Love Beyond the Sea for relationship tips with a Filipina, some clips of my wife and I, and occasionally we'll look at what is driving men away from the West, such as today. Get notifications, leave comments, and visit the community corner at the WordPress blog. We just opened up that message board. He wanted to highlight the delusions of these women. He thinks they have had ample opportunity to settle down with offers for marriage throughout the years by really good men. But due to TV and being told by their female friends to never settle, they constantly hold out for that uber Chad who doesn't exist. Thus, because of this behavior, they are now in the predicament they are in. This behavior infects traditional just as much as non-traditional women, but traditional women are more immune to societal pressures to an extent. Due to their inflated expectations, they will never be satisfied and will constantly never settle. Women are taught from cradle to grave in America to never compromise and you can have it all. He also added, I'm sure that traditional women still exist in the more rural parts of America. However, let's face it, they are in short supply and the sexual marketplace is skewed. His point of his commentary was these women will never start a family, all because of the constant cheerleading our society promotes, which in turn causes them to greatly overestimate their value. He mentioned television and movies and what they're teaching women. Well, they aren't teaching them this. This is from Titus 2, 3 through 5. Likewise, this is for older women. Teach the older women to be reverent in the way they live, not to be slanderers or addicted to much wine, but to teach what is good. Then they can urge the younger women to love their husbands and children, to be self-controlled and pure, to be busy at home, to be kind and be subject to their husbands so that no one will malign the word of God. Similar statement, Ephesians 5:22. Wives are to submit themselves to their own husbands as you do to the Lord. And this is just some teaching that is not getting handed down today, throughout society. He talked about some factors contributing to less people marrying and the consequences of that. And here are some statistics I got from, it's either livescience.com or livescience.com. U.S. marriage rate drops to new low. The marriage rate in the United States is continuing its decades-long downward slide, with fewer American women than ever getting married and others waiting longer to wed, according to a new report. The marriage rate has fluctuated in the past, with dips in the 1930s and 1960s, but it has been in steady decline since the 1970s. Now, researchers report that the marriage rate has dropped to a new low of 31.1, meaning there are about 31 marriages in the U.S. for every 1,000 unmarried women. Researchers found in 1950 that number was 90.2. In 1920 it was 92.3. And I'll have a couple links in the description box for you. Marriage is no longer compulsory, study researcher Susan Brown, co-director of the National Center for Family and Marriage Research at Bowling Green State University, said. It's just one of an array of options. And another option you have is to go find a wife overseas. Increasingly, many couples choose to cohabit and still others prefer to remain single. To calculate the marriage rate, researchers look at the percentage of women older than age 15 who get married each year. So the plummeting numbers could also be explained in part by Americans delaying marriage longer than they have in the past. A woman's average age at first in the United States is now nearly 27, the highest in more than a century, according to that NCFMR report. Still, among all American women over 15, less than half, 47%, are married today, the lowest since the turn of the 20th century, and down from a peak of 65% in 1950, the report found. On the other hand, the proportion of women who are separated or divorced is on the rise at 15% today, compared with less than 1% in 1920, the researchers say. The divorce rate remains high in the U.S., and individuals today are less likely to remarry than they were in the past, Brown said. Marriage rates vary by race and education level, the report says. Just 26% of black women are married today, compared with 56% of Asian women, the ethnic group with the highest proportion of married women. And while the percentage of college-educated women who get married has changed a little in the past 50 years, it's dropped most significantly among women with a bachelor's degree. 60% are married, compared with less than 30% among those who never graduated high school. That's the end of the article. These are depressing numbers for a pro-marriage guy like myself, but what my eye caught was that 56% of Asian women are married today, the ethnic group with the highest proportion of married women. Could the underlying reasons I couldn't find a wife be what Mr. E was describing? It may have been. I never found out. I've been married to my Filipina wife now for 4.5 years. And it took us less than 8 weeks to become husband and wife after marrying in the Philippines. I presented to her in my online dating profile and our chats a biblical traditional view of marriage roles, and she liked that. I wasn't going to change what I thought I needed in a wife or how I sought to lead that marriage so that it would give me a better chance. Some things weren't working out in the West. I stayed the course. I just looked at the Philippines, an English-speaking country with a reputation for acceptance of traditional marriage, and we have a handful of Fil-Am friends in our small world, so there must be many others out there. Many have decided to not give up on marriage and looked overseas, and I am even advocating younger men consider the same in light of these sobering statistics. Mr. E concluded his commentary with, "The choice is yours." It may not seem like it, but yes, you do have a choice. While less are marrying here in America, there are many other countries out there, and some have many women who would love to be married, would love to be cherished, protected, and provided for. Imagine logging into a dating site like Christian Filipina, where I found my wife, and being able to chat with hundreds or thousands of women who want to get married. You don't have to give up your desire of having children with a woman who values having a family. Filipinas often live simple lives, and many have not been affected by feminism. They are not overly picky and are looking for a man who will be faithful and good to them. There are plenty of videos out there to help warn you of the dangers of getting scammed, and you should learn about the cultural differences. But beyond that, you can still find a wife. It may just involve more money and travel, but this also can be an exciting experience. A couple of links are in the description box for you to browse through, and please consider commenting on the new community corner. A link to sign up there is also in the description box. Don't let the sagging marriage rates in the West get you down. Instead, look for love beyond the sea.